Well, my name is Ralph, and this is Leslie and our dog Zoe and our daughter Violet over there.
We came out to the Eastern Shore to look for a piece of land of our own. We saw a piece of land, but it wasn't really suited to us. And we drove a little bit further and came across this private sale and came up the laneway, and it was really a beautiful spot. It felt like, with the moss and all the greenery and the forest, it felt like a bit of a fairyland coming up the laneway. And then Hurricane Juan struck. Probably about 40% of the trees had fallen in the storm.
You couldn't drive in the laneway after Juan.
Ralph brought in a portable mill and used that to mill up some of the wood. He had built like a tiny structure on a trailer when he was on the South Shore, and brought it out here when he moved out here, and that's what he lived in the first couple seasons that he was here. And he worked on building the barn first. So we have a barn where now he has a steam-operated sawmill in the barn. But first thing, that was like our living quarters. So we had a room on the ground floor and then a loft upstairs where we would sleep. We had a little shower in there, and for our running water, we had a barrel upstairs, and we would have to get buckets drawn right from the well, and we had a pulley system. So one person would grab the water, one person would pull up the water to fill up the barrel, and that's how we got our water. So we made do with that.
I like to keep things simple. Things will get complicated on their own. We were running a light bulb originally.
When we were just running a light bulb off a battery and a radio, we've always had a radio,
Oh, radio.
a plug-in radio.
Yes, the radio.
We were using the 150 watt panel in one battery.
And then we ended up getting a fridge.
Not sure how many panels we would have had once we got the fridge, maybe 6?
Yeah, I think we had about 6 or so.
But not high wattage. They would have been older panels.
Yeah, we
so
had
as
about 1,100 watts or 1,200 watts altogether. And we would shut the fridge off at nighttime and put freezer packs in the fridge. We'd freeze these blue freezer packs during the day and put them in the fridge and shut the fridge off at night with the freezer packs in the fridge, and then we'd switch it back and forth, back and forth. So now we don't have to do that anymore. But that did work. There's always a way to do things.
Yeah, before we had a fridge, we just, would...
We had a cooler on the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a child kind of changed our lifestyle and our energy needs and that type of thing as well. We wanted to just make sure that we had everything in place to be able to take care of her, to store her food and her milk at the time and all of that stuff. And we added a washing machine because, having a baby, it's a bit of a hassle to be working full time and live in a place where there isn't a laundromat close by. And so we added our washing machine.
We don't have a dryer.
Yeah, we don't have the dryer.
We have the solar dryer outside on the line, which is pretty good.
When we decided to go electric with the vehicle, we knew that we would have to upgrade our solar system again. So we upgraded our system in July 2022 and then got the car in August 2022.
So we got our battery bank here and our inverter here configured for 48 volts.
We went from 1.8 kilowatt system to, I think now we have 16 panels that are 300 watts each. The electric vehicle is plugged in on the trickle charger at the moment. This is a level 1 charger, so it's just plugged into a regular 110 volt outlet, like your cell phone. We've got 3.22 kilowatts coming in from the sun, very close to the solstice on a short winter day where the sun's quite low. 1.68 kilowatts going into our battery bank. And so the 1.42 kilowatts that's being used, that includes our car. That takes 1.3 kilowatts. And once we unplug that, it's really very minimal what we're drawing to run our house.
But that's the level 1 charger. There's a level 2 charger we can also use for the car, which draws a lot more.
We have a 240 volt outlet that we had installed here. It's hooked up right to our system that was in the shed. And this is the level 2 charger. So you can see this is a much hardier charger with the bigger cable, and it's bringing probably about almost 5 times the amount of energy to the vehicle from the system.
We can run the level 2 charger on a good sunny day, and it does all right for a while, but it doesn't keep up with it all. Like, it takes a little bit down from the battery banks.
In the summertime, it's very easy. Like, I would say up until October, mid-October, it's very easy to kind of keep it operating and use the level 2 charger. And it's more this time of year where we're using the level 1 charger, and we're also doing quite a bit of public charging. We've just had a streak of a couple of weeks of relatively cloudy days, so we've probably had to run the generator for maybe an hour and a half every 3 days or so to make sure that our battery banks are topped up and we're not at risk of running anything too low. I would say the size of system that we have is definitely the minimum that you're going to want to go for if you're off grid and want to charge a car at the same time. We went with the model of car that we have because it's a smaller battery size, so easier for us to deal with on our system.
And it is the nicest thing to drive. You're well taken care of driving that car, because it beeps at you and lets you know if you're doing something wrong.
It is funny to have a very basic lifestyle like this and have that piece of technology. But I just really believe that at this point, this is the alternative that we have to burning fuel. You've got to work with what you have at the time when you're starting off, and you can always build on it and you can always improve on it.
Yeah, we started off with 1 panel and 2 batteries, and just it all evolved a little bit every year.
So this is our 3rd expansion of it. And we've incorporated our solar panels that we've had on other installations into our new ones. So we're just building on what we have.
Now, I think we're doing fine just now.